Hi, I'm Eileen Roach. Welcome to today's episode of Between Friends. I'm so glad you're joining me to talk all about t-shirts. You know, there's traditional ways to approach t-shirt embroidery or placement, shall we say. Left chest, like what you're seeing next to me on that burgundy shirt, or up near the neckline, and also center chest. There are common denominators in all t-shirt embroidery, and that's what we're going to talk about today, how to master stitching on those t-shirts that's so common. Everybody, all your family members, all your friends at some point are going to say, can you do a t-shirt for me? You know, I just want my logo here, or I want my monogram, or I want a big splash in the center. So we're going to get you all set up on how to be successful. I think you're going to enjoy it. And thanks so many people signing in from all over. We got Homestead, Florida, Southeast Wisconsin, Virginia, Oregon, Missouri. Oh my goodness, isn't it wonderful? We have Leslie down in Mariester, Florida. That sounds like a lovely place. And Valerie Brown in just north of Shreveport. Juva in Southeast Pennsylvania. Oh, I love hearing all these names. So how many of you have tried to, well, how many of you have stitched on t-shirts? Go ahead and write in the comments. Just give me a yes or a thumbs up that you have already tried to tackle t-shirts. And then let me know if you were successful or you feel like you have a lot to learn, right? So, yeah, I see. Okay, Dawn, Susan, Alicia, yes. So, and somebody says, I love stitching on t-shirt. That's great. Well, so many of you have already started. I see that Janice, she's afraid to do so. Cheryl Eloise says, not quite yet. So, you know, there's a lot to learn, right? Let's go ahead over to PowerPoint so we can talk about the three common denominators, and they are placement, stabilizer, and hooping. And it's probably stabilizer first, right? Because you know what fabric you're stitching on, and that is what determines the type of stabilizer that you're going to use. And a t-shirt is a knit fabric. So it's unstable, it's knit, it doesn't have a weft and a weave, right? So it's stretchy, often can be four-way stretchy, but the best thing about them is they're so comfortable, and that's why they're, you know, we get requests to stitch on t-shirts. So the first thing that we're going to do is talk about stabilizer. What happened to my slide? Oh my goodness. On my computer, it's one word, and it's not hyphenated or split into two lines, but you know what that means. You know how to read that word stabilizer. So there are two stabilizers that I often use. One is fusible no-show, which is a cutaway, and I use that on every t-shirt that I embroider on. The other, occasionally, is adhesive sew and wash, and I'll use that in conjunction with the no-show, fusible no-show. And the reason why is all about hooping and placement. Sometimes I'm stitching just like the t-shirt that I'm wearing right now, very close to the neckline. And I can't hoop the entire design area, right? Because look, I'm up here at the neckline, the edge of the fabric, the edge of the garment. So I need a little assistance with adhesive sew and wash. But the fusible no-show mesh or just no-show mesh that you pair with temporary spray adhesive is the stabilizer for you to check out. So before you stitch, you should do one thing, and that is test. Let's go over and I'll show you what I use. Well, before we test, let's go ahead and just take a look at our stabilizer. So here's our no-show mesh. That's what it says on the end of the of the tube here, but it looks, I just said no show mesh. Mesh is not really what it is, right? It's a cutaway stabilizer. It's a permanent stabilizer. It's going to stay in the garment for as long as, the embroidery is on the garment. So it's soft and very strong. Like when I pull it, it most certainly won't tear. It really has a nice body and it's comfortable next to the skin. Another great feature about it is it's sheer. So even if you're on a white t-shirt, you're not going to have stabilizer bleed through. Have you ever gone to like a country club and, contemplated spending $75 on a really lovely golf shirt only to have this big white square patch of heavy cutaway, unlike this nice and soft and sheer no-show? That's why it's called no-show. That's great stuff. If you are learning all about stabilizers, I would recommend that you use Deborah Jones's Embroiderer's Compass. This wheel is two-sided, has every fabric that you want to stitch on, and when you place that top arrow, see where my target sticker is pointing to this? Well, when that is positioned to the desired fabric, in this case, knits, t-shirts, and onesies, in the window where it says stabilizer, it tells me no show for left chests and lightweight cutaway for larger designs. And then it also gives me the needle size. She has some hooping suggestions. So this is where Deborah says, if it's not a fusible, you could use a tearaway, a spray adhesive to adhere the no show to the garment. So that's great. Once you have your stabilizer in place, it's time to stitch out a t-shirt. Everybody should have a t-shirt like this. Truth be told, this is my husband's shirt, right? It's something that was in his, donation pile. As you can see, the rib neckline is really all kind of lost its elasticity. So it's at the end of its life as far as him wanting to wear it. But for me, I'm like, oh, don't toss that. That's just the perfect weight t-shirt of what I embroider on almost all the time. So this is my test t-shirt. And what I do is I start up near the neck and I will just fill this garment with stitch outs, test stitch outs. Sometimes I'm only testing for stabilizer and really to check out the design. Is it too dense, not dense enough? Does it need an outline, that kind of thing. I check out the lettering. This clearly, I did not pay any attention to color. I put this on a multi-needle and just let it rip. Here, I did audition. I figured, well, why not? Let's go ahead and stitch the whole design, but let's do it in two different colors so we can see which one looks better, and this really pops. The black, this is more subtle, and maybe that's your choice, but it's a great tool to have in your sewing room. And so I will eventually fill the whole back of this, maybe even the front, even though it is screen printed. I don't care. I can stitch right over that. It's going to give me the information that I need. So I hope that everybody has a t-shirt like that in their studio. So then let's talk about the traditional way to the most commonly asked way to embroider, and that's for left chest embroidery. So left chest, let's go ahead and get PowerPoint up there. As you can see, left chest is about right along where the neckline meets the shoulder seam, right about there, and then down. It needs to be above the breast, and it needs to be close enough to the center that it's not folded into the armpit, right? So on different sizes of shirts, the positioning is a little bit different. Not much, you'd be amazed, but a little bit. So I use a tool. I have 3 tools that I use for left chest embroidery. Number 1 is a target sticker, right? I have to designate the location of the design, and that's going to come in handy when I'm actually in the hoop. I also use a product that we make, which is called the Embroiderer's Helper, and it comes in 2 sizes. for small to extra large, and then the big helper for extra large to 4X, I believe. And then PAL 3 is our laser, and it just makes hooping so easy. And I'm going to show you how to do all that for sure. So next up is hooping. Well, this is not mandatory, the totally tubular hooping station, but boy, when you are hooping t-shirts, which are finished goods, right? It's a tube, a t-shirt, right? It's not flat. And, you need to slide it onto something so that you're not hooping the back of the shirt with the front of the shirt. So I'm going to show you how to do that. You can also use an ironing board to, the pointy end of an ironing board to mimic the totally tubular hooping station. The drawback of that is it's pointy. You may not be able to get your whole hoop on it. And you can't attach PAL 3 to it, as you'll see over here in just a minute. So now, next up, we're going to talk about hoops. And I know your machines came with standard hoops, and I'm going to show you a standard hoop. But I love Snap Hoop Monster for left chest placement. It is just beautiful. It's a flat bottom, a flat top. Nothing's going to move. There's not going to be any hoop burn. So let's head over to the overhead cam so you can see. So let me move some of this. We'll start with our t-shirt in a standard hoop that I have already hooped. And I did this so that you could see what would happen when I go to unhoop it. As you can see, I have my no-show mesh right there. And I've had this hoop for about 20 minutes, and I'm going to pop that out. And what do you have? Oh, do you hate that? Oh, man, that just infuriates me, that ring. And sometimes you can remove it, but not always. Sometimes it can be permanent. Sometimes you have to launder the garment to get it out. And, if you're a commercial embroiderer, you're not washing any garments before you sell them, before you, let your customer pick them up. And also, if you're a busy person and doing a lot of embroidery, you're probably not washing them either. So that's why I don't use a standard hoop. All right. So we're just going to get rid of that. And now we're going to concentrate on taking a look at the embroiderer's helper. And I have a t-shirt here, a nice bright pink t-shirt that I've already placed my no-show mesh on, and I use the fusible type. So I'm going to open up my garment. Well, I have it folded in half, and let me make sure you can see all of that. Kind of have a skinny little window here. I could maybe go down a little bit. Why don't I lower the table? Let's see how that goes. Give myself just a little bit more window. There we go. Okay. And then I'll place my embroiderer's helper on the garment. And you're just going to have to bear with that coil. That's my PAL. So I am positioning that little curve, which would normally go around a button if this was a polo shirt. And I'm aligning the straight edge with the fold. And then over here, I got to check my size. This is a medium. And I have these notches, small, medium, large, and extra large. And I'm going to take a Target sticker. Oh, and this is our handy new little Target sticker dispenser. Aren't they great? So now when you buy Target stickers, it comes in this slick little holder, which is so nice. I love that. Okay, so now I'm going to hold on to the helper, just kind of lift it a little bit. And then I'm going to slide that Target sticker so that it aligns with the medium arrow. And here's my medium arrow. And then I'll just move that aside so I can finger press that down. Okay, and then I'm happy, right? There we are. I don't have to worry about a template, anything else at this point. Now, why is that? Well, left chest embroidery is usually no larger than 3 inches. And frankly, 3 inches is a little large. I would say 2.5. So as long as your center, is located, you're going to be fine. If it was a 7-inch design, then yeah, you'd have some problems there in the arm area. But a large design like that would go on the center chest. Okay, so I'm going to take my Snap Hoop Monster, and this is for a single head machine. And I have already turned on PAL, and let me line this up. And I'm just making sure that that my laser is parallel with my mat grid. And it just gives me a guideline. That's all that's doing. Okay, then I'll place my my hoop on here. And, you know, I didn't check that, but I should have had all 4 sides marked. So I think I'm just going to kind of eyeball that. All right, and then we will take our shirt and we're going to hoop the totally tubular station. And all I'm doing now is making sure that my shirt is sliding over that metal bottom, and I'm aligning that target sticker with the laser. That's all I need to do. And I just smooth that down. And then I take my top frame and I just carefully position it vertical near the attachment. And then I'm just going to drop it into place. And I'm ready to go to the machine. And when I go to the machine, let me just turn this off. When I go to the machine, I'm going to center my needle right over that target sticker. And I'm going to make sure that the orientation of the design is in the correct position. Like my attachment is here on the left. So if I was stitching an M, it would really read with the bottom of the M down here. So now we have to nest the garment, right? We have to take the whole shirt and place it up on top of the hoop, pull those sleeves out. That's a really good tip, to pull those sleeves out. I can't tell you how many sleeves I've caught in the back of the hoop. And then we get that nested. We take that magnet shield that we use to store our hoop and we lift our hoop, and now we're ready to go to the machine. And it's that easy. It is that easy. Okay, so now let's take a look at a man's polo shirt. And I just thought I would show you this because, you know, it has the buttons, right? And so here we're going to place the neckline with the first button. Well, that little scoop goes with the first button. And then I'm going to just take my target sticker, and this is a large. And so I will place that. Let me just kind of reposition this so you get a better look. Oh, I guess I'll come this way. And we've got to make sure we're nice and square and flat right in the center of those buttons. And again, we'll do the same thing, aligning that with the large, and then remove it. And I'm ready to hoop this. And I can do that in a multi-needle hoop. So on a multi-needle hoop, we're going to place it with our bottom frame down first with the magnets up. And I'll turn on my laser. And again, I should have centered that. I should have had marks on these hoops. I didn't think that through. I have those marks on my hoop at home, but no worries. And then we're just going to dress this bottom frame. And then we'll put that metal top frame in position. And then I can go right to the machine and stitch that design. So men's shirts, they're often larger, which in some ways is better because it's more, you have a larger design area, like a bigger expanse of fabric, easier to work on. You're not in a tight area. But on the other hand, it's a lot of bulk to control, right? So 6 of one, half dozen of the other. Okay, and then we're ready. And then I'm just going to take my top frame. Now I do want to make sure that I get these sleeves out of the way. And I'm going to place that right on the bottom frame. I'm pretty well centered. But it's a small design, so I am going to be able to reposition that by just moving my needle to the center of that target sticker. And so that's how easy that is. Okay, let me see if there's any questions before we move over to the center chest. Okay, yeah, I know that PAL 3 gooseneck is kind of obstructing the way. Let's see, do the buttons go in the way of the hoop? No, because you're far enough away from the from the buttons, so it doesn't get caught. And could you maybe, there we go. Gloria, could you maybe mute that for me, please? All right, let's see. So many amazing tools, Dawn says. I know we do have a lot of amazing tools. And Lori Albrecht says she uses her PAL 3 and she keeps it set up all the time. I never puts it away. Either do I. At home, right next to my multi-needle, I have the totally tubular hooping station positioned. Just, it's a small little area. It's not that large. The totally tubular measures 13 by 13. And my space there is maybe 16 by 16. And I leave that up with the PAL attached. And boy, I'm able to hoop, go to the machine, hoop, go to the machine really quickly. It's really fun. And Harry Taylor says, the dispenser looks like the same one from the post office for stamps. You're right, because they're about the same size. And so it is very similar. But, it was really the only one we could find that would accommodate 100 Target stickers. So it's a real tight fit in there, but it works out just great. And then it just keeps them handy and tidy for sure. Okay, so let's go ahead over to PowerPoint. And now we'll talk about, well, today's program is brought to you by PAL 3. If you see this image here, that's the very same thing that you're seeing as I work in the on the overhead cam as I was hooping. You could see that gooseneck, right? I mean, you need that gooseneck. That's what's illuminating the crosshair. Goodness, it makes it so easy to hoop and to align everything and really saves time, really does save time. So Sharon Crowder says, you may have missed it. Did I press no-show on the back? I did. I most certainly, Dime, we have no-show fusible. So it already comes with an adhesive on it. So you can just press that right onto your garment. Now, if you don't have the fusible, use temporary spray adhesive and spray one side of the no-show with the adhesive and put that tacky side to the garment, right? To the wrong side of the t-shirt, your design area. Sandy Martinez, you want to come live at my house? That's fun. It is a lot of fun. But, there's other stuff that goes on in that house too. Like I make beds and I clean the house and I cook and all that. So I don't get to play constantly. All right, so let's see. Center chest, again, what is with this? Center chest placement is what that's supposed to say. Oh, interesting. Sometimes when we go from a computer over to this broadcast software, it changes things up on us and we can't control that. So I apologize for that. And Reen Wilcoxon wants to know, how close do you trim the stabilizer from your design? Oh, pretty close. Here, I'll show you. Let's go take a look. Let's go to the overhead cam and take a look at that, because I did that today on my little palm tree. So we'll turn that wrong side out so you can see. I use pinking shears for this, and I trim it in a circular fashion. That's how I like to do it. So I don't want any corners, I don't want any hard edges. So I just use pinking shears and kind of go around. And I've got a pretty generous amount, like that's way more than a 1/4 inch, probably. Oh, gosh, we're such sewists and quilters and all that, that's 3/8 of an inch probably. And then a little excess here, but it's fine. When this is laundered, it will be very comfortable. And if this was for a child, then I would fuse our Fuse So Soft, which is a tricot knit interfacing, over the whole back of the embroidery. And that would be really comfortable next to the skin. Although this is very comfortable. That would just be for infant wear. Okay. Good question, Reen. Thanks for asking. Okay. So let's see. Yeah, Julianne Croxton says, no worries. We can figure out what it says. Well, I appreciate that. Okay, so let's see. If you use both adhesive sew and wash and fusible no-show, which do you use next to the garment? Well, we're going to do that next. Next to the garment would be the no-show mesh, and I'll show you why. And it's all about the hooping. Okay, so if we take a look at these two design elements here. So in the green shirt on the left, the embroidery is right at the neckline. Right? And so is it on the orange shirt. So just imagine if there was a hoop placed around those templates, centering the template in the hoop. Clearly, fabric would not fill the hoop because we have that curved neckline. So that's why I go ahead and I use different placement tools, and they are the print and stick target template paper, and I do use PAL 3. Now, the print and stick target template paper is going to help me position my design, because when I'm center chest, if I'm up at the neckline or if I am, a couple inches below, it's a unique design, and it could be any shape. I don't want to say it could be any size. It's probably going to be smaller than 8 by 8 inches, but it's going to be unique, and its placement will be crucial. So I'm going to have to print a template of that design and audition that template on the garment. And of course, the print and stick target template paper is translucent and it's sticky. So that's awesome. Okay, so we are going to use the totally tubular hooping station again. And this time, depending on where the design is, we're either going to use a sticky hoop or we're going to use Snap Hoop Monster. So let's go to the overhead, and we'll start with, I don't know, one of them. Let's go see. All right. So, well, I should have brought my girl in. Here, let's go back, Gloria. Let's go back. Let's show them my girlfriend here. And so here's the center chest, right? And we're right at the neckline, just kind of like what I'm wearing here, although this one transformed the neckline with eyelets, a laced up front. But this one, that placement is really key. It's right at the bottom of that ribbing. So let's go ahead and work through that garment first. How about that? Okay, so here you can see we have our t-shirt, and maybe if I come back up, I think that's where we had the flaw. We can get this out of the way so it's not such an obstruction. All right, we'll see how that goes. Okay, so, it's important to go ahead and mark the center of the garment with a pin. And then when you place your template there, you'll want to make sure you're aligned. Now, I will show you, I'm going to pull this off and kind of walk through it, because there are a couple ways that you can cheat to do it. So we're going to get our t-shirt folded like it was originally, and we'll place that on our workspace on a nice flat surface, right? And you can see my pin designating the center is right there. So then I'm going to take that template, the print and stick template, and I'm still working on just half of the garment, right? And I'm going to take that vertical line on the template and align that with the folded edge. And then I'll finger press that in place. And then all I have to do is open that up, and I am good to go, right? Now I know I'm nice and flat. I can double check. Are my little leaves, touching just below the stitching on the ribbing in the right position? You could, do a couple little adjustments there if necessary. And then I'm going to take sticky hoop. And in sticky hoop, I have adhesive sewing wash on here. And I have my PAL aligned with my rulers, right? My placement guides. They are centering guides. That's what they are. They're not really rulers. They're not measuring anything. They're just designating locations on my hoop. And then I'm going to take this t-shirt and I'm going to open it up, and I'm going to slide this over right there. This is a really delicate embroidery design, just running stitches. So I'm only using the adhesive sewing wash, and I get that finger press aligning that laser. Oh, it's beautiful. Just beautiful. Okay, now I got to take a moment, and we're going to bring the body of that garment right up above. And we don't even have to worry about being aligned under PAL anymore, because we're in our hoop. We are on our sticky stabilizer. Everything is positioned properly. And I literally can place it all in the hoop while I carefully get those sleeves out of the way. So there we go. I'll put my hand in there. It's always so much bulk, right, on top, but it's okay. It's all right. Just take your time. Just make sure that it's staying adhered to the hoop, to that stabilizer, and you're fine. You're just fine. Take your time. And, it's all in the prep. We often think about stitches per minute. Well, it's really all in the prep. And if you get this prepped properly and positioned in the hoop just how you want it, the stitching is the easy part, right? So I'm going to turn that off so that it doesn't confuse you. But I am absolutely square in the hoop. Now I'm going to take my my board. This is part of the packaging that comes with your purchase of the hoop. Keep it and then use it to transport that garment over to the machine. And that way you don't have to worry about dislodging it from the hoop. And of course, when you get to the machine, you're literally going to do this, right? You're going to flatten it all out so that you can allow the foot to travel across the hoop as you attach it. And then once all of that is secure, then you open this up again, that design area, and you're ready to stitch. Love that. Okay. Let me see if there's any questions. And yes, of course, you'll remove that template before you stitch. And okay, so let's see if there's any questions before we go and we do another type of center chest embroidery. Let's see. And then, Reen, this is Reen Wilcoxon from Embroidery Garden. She has a great tip. She says the print stick templates is great for double checking placement on your own figure in the mirror, right? So before you hoop, when you get that print and stick target template design on your garment, put the garment on and stand in front of the mirror and see if it's in the right location. Is it flattering? Is it crooked? If if the shirt is, not made as well as some others, then maybe there's some small adjustments that you have to do. So let's see. Marjorie Hirschberger says the laser is a game changer. It really is. I've seen people measure and measure and measure and all this measuring and, geez, we're not surgeons, folks. It's just T-shirts, let's get them done, right? Okay, so let's see. Now let's go ahead and do another center chest, but this time it's not located up at the neckline. It's just down a little bit lower. And let's take her out of the way so I don't bump into her again. Okay, so now we have our T-shirt. This time here's my neckline here. Up in this area, this is really a dark blue. And then I'm located about 2 inches below the ribbing. And, I'm in the center of the shirt. So let's take a look here's my template that we've already printed out. And I have my design area on the garment. I have my fusible no-show adhered to the garment. So I'm going to fold my shirt in half and place it on a flat surface, just like we did the other one. Okay, and then we'll take that template and we're going to position it about 2 inches below. Now, that's probably too much, right? So I'm going to come up just a little bit. Could I measure this? Sure. And I probably should have a ruler here. And what am I measuring? I would measure this distance from the bottom of the ribbing to the top of the design. I want that to be about 2 inches. So I'll go grab a ruler and see. So we get a good visual on that. And now I'm a petite person. So, that's what works for me. This is actually only an inch. Now, but I know on my own figure that works for me because otherwise this is going to wind up a good part in my belly, right? But if you are not petite, if you have broader shoulders or, you're taller, then you probably would want to position the top of that design about 2 inches below the ribbing. So whatever works for you will be, best for you. So now we're just going to open this up just like we did before, finger press the whole thing down. And now this time we're going to go into a standard hoop. Not a standard hoop, monster hoop. Well, it's my standard hoop, I can tell you that. It's all I hoop in is a snap hoop monster. Okay, so you can't really see this, but my my pal is aligned with all of those center marks. Okay, you can see I've marked them in Sharpie on my hoop. And so now when I go to dress my board, I got to open that up, open up the garment, slide it in. And, it's knit. You know how knit fabrics want to get caught on things. So just take your time. Just take your time. Okay, there we go. And they're nice and lined up, just perfect. And then I'm going to place this vertically and then let it drop. And it'll jump a little bit, but that's okay. I know that this design is going to fit in this hoop, and it's smaller than this. This is an 8-inch hoop, so it's smaller than that, just a little bit. Now, notice my ribbing is not caught in there. Well, it's really okay because my stabilizer, here, let me scoot this down so you can see. My stabilizer is secured in the hoop, and most of the neckline is secure. And this is a delicate design. It's not a great big, heavy, dense stitch count. So I'm fine with that. And as you can see, I've already stitched one just like it. So now we're just the same thing. We're going to nest it and pull everything up above. You can kind of shimmy this off a little bit, but you don't really want to pull it off the totally tubular station until you get that board underneath of it, right? And again, this is how we would stitch, right? We would center our needle right over that target sticker. Make sure our orientation is correct. This is the top of the design. It's also pointing, towards the neck. And so when I get this on the machine, I want to make sure it's stitching in the right direction. Once that needle is centered there, we'll just peel this back. And I always peel it back when I'm at the machine from behind the foot and peel towards me. Okay? Because if you peel this way, you have a good chance of getting this template stuck on the foot, which causes another whole set of problems. So just peel from the back of the template underneath the foot and just pull down like that to clear the foot, and you'll be good to go. All right, wasn't that fun? What is the design template paper called? So that's our print and stick target template paper. And maybe one of my team members can get that overhead up. And we can take a look at that. Well, not the overhead, but here, I can go back on the slide so you can see. So if you bring a PowerPoint, you can see, there we go, the print and stick target template paper. That's it on the left. And it comes with 25 sheets. You can print on a laser printer or an inkjet. All you need is software to do that. So if you don't have software, you're welcome to use our free software, Embroidery Toolshed, that you can download and install on your computer. Use it as much as you'd like. It's free, and it allows you to print templates in color, full size, with a crosshair. And boy, are they handy. I mean, they're reusable. I use them for many things, but one of the best things I use them for is quilting. And one template will last an entire queen size quilt. It has a nice, strong adhesive on it, and it remains tacky for multiple applications. Eventually, it will lose its tackiness, and you might want to hit the back of it with some spray adhesive. That will extend its life, but eventually, you'll just print a new one, right? It's great stuff, great stuff. Now Reen says it's a great time to use the hoop guard when you're embroidering shirts, and that is true. You can use hoop guard. I find that I often don't use hoop guard when I'm doing t-shirts, a large t-shirt like in the 8x8 hoop, because you kind of have to babysit it on all four sides. But when quilting, it's just one roll falling in. So that's what I use that for sure. And let's see, Mary Bailey, you want to know if this will be on YouTube? Forever, Mary Bailey. It will be here forever. So you can always come and rewatch this program and see, review those tips if you've forgotten. And it's really helpful. Let's see, is the stabilizer in the hoop or on the garment? You missed that. Well, the stabilizer is on the garment for sure. So you're going to use no-show cutaway stabilizer, which is a lightweight, delicate stabilizer. Here, I'll bring it over so you can see. But it's very strong, but it's kind of sheer, right? Kind of sheer, and it's not going to bleed through on a white t-shirt. You're not going to see this great big white patch. So it's very handy for sure. And that's what we use on the garment itself. And this comes in fusible. Now, if you don't have the fusible, you can use spray adhesive to adhere this to the wrong side of the t-shirt. And yes, the stabilizer should be as big as the hoop. So if you're doing earlier we did left chest, and I was in a 4x4 hoop, which doesn't measure 4x4 inches, right? So my stabilizer that I applied to the garment was about 8x10 inches. It's generous. It really is. It's oversized, I know, and we're going to cut away a lot of it after, but it's important to make sure the stabilizer is totally in the hoop, because that's what's going to give it stability. That's a lot. And would you use that stabilizer for a sweatshirt? I most certainly do use it for a stabilizer. If it's a very large, dense, heavy stitch count design, I'll move to a regular cutaway, like a medium weight cutaway, which is stronger and thicker and won't, you wouldn't want to use that on a lightweight t-shirt like this, because it would be this kind of bulletproof embroidery, right? But on a sweatshirt, there's more body there for sure. Okay, so let's see. What's the difference between the PAL lasers? Well, PAL 1, the very first one, was a small tabletop one. His gooseneck was about, I think, maybe 14 inches. And he was fantastic. But, time goes on, and we learned from our customers and other embroiderers and that, this could be better if it were taller, because small PAL, the original PAL, was illuminated a smaller crosshair because the gooseneck was not that long of a distance away from the surface. The further away you get from the surface, the larger the beam. So PAL 2 was an accordion type of lamp, and it served the purpose for sure. And it got a longer, larger beam, which was very helpful. And then we realized that, it's kind of clunky. So then we redesigned and went with a combination of PAL 1 and PAL 2. So PAL 1 was just tabletop, sat on the table, actually fell down a lot. So we changed that so that it would clamp to a table, but it had a gooseneck, but the gooseneck was much taller. So we love it. We love PAL 3. They all do the same thing. So if you have one of the earlier ones, no worries. So do you adhere it to the garment? Let me get this question. Do you adhere it to the garment before stitch out? Yes, you fuse the fusible no-show to the wrong side of the design area before you hoop. And after you stitch, you take the garment out of the hoop, and then you trim away that excess stabilizer. And here, I'll bring that under the camera again so you can see how we do that. And this is how it's trimmed afterwards. So this was originally a very large piece, about 6x8, 6x10, or 8x10, whatever I previously said. And it filled that 4x4 hoop. And then when it was time to wear the garment, right, I trimmed it down. So you can see that my stabilizer would have been larger, fused to here. And then I take it out of the hoop, and then I press it from the wrong side, and that releases the adhesive. And I don't press it again. Now it's loose. It's not adhesive any longer. I could press it, and it would stick to the garment again, but there doesn't need to, right? And then I just trim it with pinking shears. You don't have to use pinking shears, but if you have them, use them. It's a great, task for them. So let's see, do you use the cross stitch? That's a crosshair stitch out to mark the hoop with permanent marker. Yes, that crosshair, that on our website, when you purchase a Snap Hoop Monster or a sticky hoop, we send you to our website to download a crosshair design, which is literally just a straight vertical line and a straight horizontal line. You stitch that on your hooped stabilizer, and where those legs hit the hoop is where you mark your hoop. If you're applying your adhesive centering guides, you put the 0 at those marks. And if it's the bottom of the hoop, like the metal, you just take a Sharpie. That's what I do. Just take a Sharpie. Okay. Oh, and Demazy Mama, she says that you love those t-shirt remakes. You've made several. They are fun to make, aren't they? So much fun. And they're so wearable. That's what I like about them. You know, they go with jeans, they go with leggings, whatever, skirts, and, you know, that just kind of dresses up a simple t-shirt for sure. Well, I hope I answered all your questions. I hope you learned about the 3 common denominators of t-shirt embroidery, which is placement, hooping, and stabilizer, whether it's left chest or center chest, it really doesn't matter. And, hooping, I always use the totally tubular hooping station. It really helps me. If you don't have one, you can try an ironing board, but you'll have some shortcomings with that. It won't be as easy to do. And let's see, Marcia, you say you don't have any luck with stabilizers. Does the fusible mesh shrink after washing? I haven't really had that issue. If you have that issue, Marcia, this is what you should do. Here, let's go back to the overhead cam so I can show you. So if it shrinks, right, take your scissors and just slit the stabilizer, and it will release and relax the embroidery. So if you had puckers, on the right side, let's pull that over. If you had some puckering occurring here on the wrong side, slit that and press it, and it will relax, and you won't have any more issues. It's really the stabilizer normally that's giving you a problem. Let's see. And Kelly, do we still offer the projector? No, we don't do that anymore. Okay. So where are we here? Hooping. Yep, definitely hooping. And, I never use a standard hoop. We can go over and take a look at that standard hoop. Why don't we do that? See what a mess that is at this point, right? The hoop burn that it left. Remember, I had hooped in a standard hoop, and as you can see, it still has hoop burn. And can I press it? Maybe. Can I wash it out? Maybe. But you see that shadow there, that ring? Those fibers are distorted now, kind of permanently. They're, I hate that, right? And that's the beauty of a flat hoop. You're not going to have that. You're also going to be able to smooth and tug your fabric in a flat magnetic hoop, which I know we all want to do a gazillion times, right? And if you're having a lot of puckering going on in a standard hoop, it could be because you're doing that in a standard hoop. And, you're asking the fabric to go over and under an inner and outer ring. Oh, boy. Yeah. Okay. So, Paula, we already discussed about releasing the no-show. It does stay in the garment forever. It's a cutaway, but you will trim it down so that it's not, this great big piece of stabilizer on your garment for sure. Okay. So next week, well, no, not next week, February 6th, Ashley Jones is going to be doing Software Success at 1:00 on Facebook and on YouTube. And she's going to be talking about getting started with My Fabric Designer. My Fabric Designer is a kind of a secret software that Dime has, and it helps you design fabric. So it's not really for embroidery, but if you want to dabble in designing fabric, this will be the program for you. And it's really a lot of fun to watch. Suzanne Madley says, isn't there free shipping over $75? There most certainly is all the time. So use that ship code. Okay, let's see. So Sinforest says she has all the monster hoops and she's grateful that you do. I don't blame you. I love them too. And you don't understand the advantage to having a sticky hoop. Well, a sticky hoop is for hooping things that are practically impossible to hoop, like maybe the tongue of a Converse, high top sneaker, the shaft of a boot, the lid of a cosmetic case, finished goods that are really hard to hoop. And the stabilizer is placed on the bottom, the back of the metal frame. And so it just is a completely flat surface, and you don't have to worry about working over a hoop that has dimension, that has some height. And we love it for I love it for t-shirts, like I just showed you. When you're doing up at the neck, I use the sticky hoop for that. Can you use a sticky hoop in a snap hoop monster? You most certainly can. You would hoop the stabilizer and then score it and expose that top protective paper, remove that. But then you're going to have to work over, when you're trimming or whatever it is that you're doing in the hoop, you're going to have to work over the magnetic frame. So the flat hoop is just super flat, and they're very affordable. And it comes with the sticky stabilizer that is cut to fit that sticky hoop. So it's a perfect fit. Okay. I hope that answered that. And how do you remove the sticky after the sticky hoop? Well, you most certainly can use mineral spirits to remove it. We peel off all the excess stabilizer. I don't do that after every hooping, right? I often patch stabilizer, and we'll be doing sticky hoop in an upcoming Facebook Live. But when you how do you remove it? So you peel off what you can. There's going to be some residue there. Then just use mineral spirits, put it on a paper towel, rub it off. It comes right off. Yeah. And let's see, Retha Ranky. Hi, Retha. She says that she loves them for embroidering pre-made pot holder. Oh, yeah, anything that you can't really hoop. So it's really great. Okay, so we talked about having Ashley on February 6th. And of course, we would love for you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and like us on Facebook. It lets us know that you're enjoying this content and how we can continue to serve your needs. Next Thursday, I'll be back. We're going to talk all about variegated thread at 1 o'clock on the 25th of January. So I hope you'll join me then. It'll be a lot of fun. Okay, now it's time for On the House. And we've had some beautiful On the House designs, don't you think? If you love the pretty girls that we've had in January, give me a thumbs up if you've really enjoyed those pretty girls. We had Snowy Girl, and then we had Winter Girl, who we're not real creative with the adjectives, but you're going to love today's girl. And it is another girl. So these On the House designs that we did all in 2023 are still available for you to download. We do kind of put them in a vault. So now they are in a zip file, and all you need to do is go to dzgns.com, click on Design and Projects and Free Designs, and there you'll see the On the House from 2023, and you can download that whole file. There's 52 designs in there, and they include 12 projects or 11 projects from 2023. So I hope that you will that you'll take advantage of that. But today, well, before we do that, right, we really like you to share your projects. We want to see what you're stitching. What have you been doing with Snowy Girl and Winter Girl? We love that. So if you would share on social media, Instagram or Facebook, use the hashtags DimeSewAlong, On the House, and Exquisite Thread. And then we will make a reel and post it for you. So here is today's free design. Isn't she adorable, shopping girl? Our bags are full, and she is just ready to hit the stores, really having a great time. Look at that beautiful long hair just flowing in the wind, and she's got her scarf on. These girls are so cute. So I hope that you'll enjoy today's free design. And don't forget, we want to see what you've been stitching. So please share that with us. And today's special, as you remember, is PAL 3. And if you just add maybe a set of Target stickers or some of that print and stick Target paper to your order, you'll get free shipping. So we hope that you'll take advantage of that today. And I want to see what kind of t-shirts you'll be stitching. Thanks for joining me.